Hello, welcome to Open Topics with Don Armando. I guess I'm just waiting for people to show up. Good evening. Now we got a guest. Let us welcome him. Bienvenido, don José. ¿Cómo está usted?
Muy bien, gracias. ¿Cómo está usted?
Yo bien.
Sí. Yeah. I was just finishing up on my stream as well, so I just want to make sure that I come over here and support your channel. I see we're having open discussion.
Yes. I mean,
Oh,
yeah, we're just talking about anything and I guess everything. So
hmm
I guess the topic is I guess it's actually a hot topic. I would like to say shout out to K Fit as well. She's in the chat room.
hmm
So my thing is that the current news, I guess, of this hour is the passing of Queen Elizabeth.
Yes.
So it's funny because it's sad, but it's funny at the same time because as soon as I guess the news of her passing got to news outlets, the next thing you know, on Twitter, RP Bozo started to come out, and just before her pass, I guess just not even a few minutes of her passing, a lot of weed sellers they actually have a quote unquote Queen Elizabeth pack.
Okay.
Yeah, as you're not how should I say if you're not familiar, when a person dies, it's actually started in the Chicago drill movement that when the opposition
hmm
or enemy pass away, they actually smoke weed to signify like as to signify that they're dissing on him. So therefore, when they actually making songs and says, "Yeah, we're smoking on the enemy pack," that's just to celebrate that that person is dead or stuff like that. Meaning like as a diss or whatever. So that's what a lot of people were actually selling their marijuana with the face of Queen Elizabeth
hmm
because I guess a lot of people
Interesting.
they did not like I guess the monarchy, um Queen Elizabeth, quote unquote racism towards Meghan Markle, and a lot of stuff in general. So it's like I guess form former subjects of the British Crown, I guess the ones that are from Africa, the West Indies, India. I mean the Indian subcontinent. Let me see any place else if I'm missing. So a lot of people, I
Well,
guess.
well, remember. Mhm. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was like, like you could talk.
Well, I mean, look, remember, I mean, the eastern coast of the United States was under the British Crown, also Canada, also some parts, small parts of Latin America and Africa and Asia. I mean, there was once a saying that the sun never set on the British Empire because at one point they actually owned one fourth of the whole of the Earth's surface.
Yeah, and it's just I don't know if it's just me, but I guess a lot of people who are affected by by the politics of the British Empire, or what what you call it, the former British Empire. They're actually, I guess, celebrating or whatever the case may be. I know that my great grandmother and my grandmother, at once upon a time before they
Mm-hmm.
moved to the Dominican Republic, were subjects of the British crown, because St. Kitts once upon a time was British territory until 1983, but then they said it's a Commonwealth prime minister, but and they gained some type of independence. But at the time when my grandmother and my great grandmother came to the Dominican Republic, Saint Kitts, formerly known as Saint Christopher's, was a part of the British Crown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Actually, in the chat, uh, Keisha was talking about, and we were talking about this earlier tonight regarding the British monarch. I mean, a lot of the British monarchs had skeletons in their closet. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, this current now, this new King Charles, which he's the head of the Church of England, but yet he committed adultery with the woman that now his the queen consort when he was
Yeah,
married to Princess Diana. He had 6 wives and had his wives executed partly because they did not produce a male heir, and finally, when someone did, he died when he was a teenager. So there's a lot of skeletons in the closet of the British monarchs. So I mean, but for some reason, people are like enamored regarding the monarchy.
I mean, to me, I never understood it because I guess I was born in America to Dominican parents. Whenever there's a wedding or anything like that of that sort, and I know that in that the history of America, we went against it. We was the first ones as Americans. We went against the British Crown. So technically, the word president is actually attributed to the United States. Before that, nobody. I'm not. I'm maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm historically wrong, but nobody before the United States was actually calling their leader a president. It was actually kings, emperors, chieftains, and quote unquote prime ministers and czars before the United States actually fought against the British crown and won.
Okay. Well, the title of president, that's a relatively new title. But democracy, I mean, yet some versions of democracy in Greece, uh, centuries before the birth of Christ. Um, it is that it was a new experiment to have a country ruled by someone other than a monarch. And at one time, basically, what the kings and queens said was actually law before things changed, where um, Great, Great Britain went from an absolute monarchy unto a constitutional monarchy, right? And right now, in Great Britain, and to certain countries like Spain and I think the Netherlands, um, the monarch is basically a figurehead. The real authority is in the office of the prime minister.
Right. And to touch on the democracy, right? What a lot of people don't understand, well, I'm not going to say what a lot of
Hmm.
people don't understand because there's a lot of people that actually know their history. That the first taste as far as a
Hmm.
democracy was the Magna Carta, which was signed by King John. I can't really quote the year, but I know that the Magna Carta was like that the king of England at that time, or I guess afterwards, did not really have total control of England because of that document, the Magna Carta.
Well, before the Magna Carta, I mean, basically, King said was law. I mean, basically, if the king got up one day and he was in a foul mood and he wanted you to be executed, law. I mean, so it got to the point where they had to put some limits on the authority of the monarch. So that's why you have things like the Magna Carta, and then here in the United States, what led to the American Revolution was there were certain practices that the monarchy hold on on the British colonies. Part of it was taxation without representation. There's like a due process. So eventually, we got to the point where we said, nope, we're not going to live under a monarchy. We're going to we got independence. And if you take a look into the history, I mean, the first form of government that the government was weak, and because they were fearful that the government will become another version of the British monarchy.
Yep.
So, and actually, they wanted to make George Washington a king, but he said no.
Um,
Mhm. So, I see. Occasional said, to be honest, I don't remember some of those dates in these events. Actually, I think it was sometime in the 13th century that the Magna Carta was signed.
yeah, and
I mean, I can probably, yeah, go ahead. So right now I'm just trying to look up and see when was the Magna Carta actually signed.
yeah, because I remember when I was in high school, I actually learned about the Magna Carta. Okay, obtained from King John of England by his rebellious barons at Runnymede in 1215, which came to be seen as the seminal document of of English constitutional practice.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah.
But the document, I guess, is known as the Magna Carta Libertatum.
Hmm. Yeah, that's correct.
Yes.
Um, um, if I don't know if Keishawn wants to join the panel. If you can drop the link for her, because I don't think she might have gotten the link.
All right, will do.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, look, the fact of the matter is, I mean, for centuries, whether it be a king or a queen or an emperor or a czar or a kaiser or what have you, I mean, what the person said, I mean, there was no due process. Basically, what the king said was it. There was no appeal process. You couldn't appeal to someone other than the king. So
Well, hey, Kasha,
that's how
Hi,
well.
how you doing?
I'm good. Happy Friday.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting me on your panel. I'm getting my way around the Jose squad. I have a few other people I need to jump on their panel as well, but they be up too late for me.
Right.
I be seeing people from Jose squad midnight, 2 a.m. I'm like, I'm sleeping. They up. What they talking about?
Yeah, that's why I'm like, I can't really do the live stream like I can because my wife want me to sleep, and then on top of it I have a job, so I can't really be 2 a.m. doing all that stuff unless if I'm a, a boss of my own company or if YouTube is paying me. So
I feel you. Yeah,
so
I remember we were just chatting about this on Jose's stream, and I didn't mean to come off negative. Like, I definitely, send my condolences to the family regarding Queen Elizabeth, but I was telling on his platform, like, kind of like, we separate, although the British Parliament and all this, like, we don't get proceeds and money and funding, and we can't go get asylum and live there. It's like, I don't know why this is so much of our news in America, but I get it, but I don't get it.
well, what I think is this, because since, well, let's be honest, a lot of people want to try to say that white people in the United States are like the descendants of the British and everything. Okay, but then most of the current white people in the United States didn't really come from Britain. So you will have a mix of German, I guess, Finnish, um, the Netherlands mostly. So my thing is that certain people they think it's nice and everything, and but then some Americans are like we don't really care because I guess it's a ally thing because of World War II or whatever the case may be. So think about it. They just started. I guess I don't know, but they started I guess talking about the ascension of the British monarchs like in the 19th century, and then when in 1952 when Queen Elizabeth, I guess her coronation ceremony, it was like a big thing, I guess at that time because my mother was always telling me that my great grandmother was proud of hearing about that coronation ceremony because she was a subject of the British Crown. So certain people, I guess, that have their roots and even current UK immigrants in the United States, I guess, have their roots, or they're in in places of entertainment and such. So therefore, I think that's why we have like a big to do thing about the crown or whatever, and people they think that this is like the the epicenter of richness or whatever the case may be.
You know what? I just thought about that. There's a couple of British actors that are in some of my American shows that I like. I'm like, you know what? Okay, I kind of see why maybe there's a big crossover, and we don't. And some of them are so good that they speak American when they're acting. You even know they're British, so makes some sense. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, because
Like, I don't know if you watched that show, The Walking Dead, but I feel like a few of those members are British. I don't know if Idris Elba's British or he's English. There are a few.
Mhm. Well, I mean, It's just like I said before. It's like it's something. It's different. It's new. We don't have a monarchy, so the closest thing we have up to a monarchy would be the president or like movie stars or things of that nature.
I'm just being quiet because I'm not sure if I was cutting Don off when I was talking, so my bad if I was.
No, it's okay.
Yeah, but you don't know what you don't know, and this is the second stream we're touching base on it, so it's starting to make a little bit more sense to me, or why it's so big.
I mean, remember when at that time Prince Charles married Princess Diana? I mean, basically everybody was talking about the wedding, and it's like you actually spent hours and hours and all that pomp and circumstance and whatnot.
Yeah, I remember when they did Princess Diana's funeral. I felt like that was a whole movie. That was like so intricate and detailed and organized and structured and long. But I guess that's how they do it over there.
Yeah,
Because I think they televised
because
that, right?
they're known for yeah.
I remember the boys were young. They were younger. Like they weren't nowhere near as big as they are now. They were like still kind of babyish. Young. They weren't high school kids yet. They were young still.
No,
Or maybe the oldest one was high schoolish, but I know Harry, the one that has the red hair, he was like maybe 10, 11. He was little. And that was a big thing. I remember watching that on TV and seeing her with Michael Jackson and Elizabeth Taylor, like not really understanding the whole British American thing really, but knowing that she wasn't from here, that she was married to someone in another country and they was royal and they were different from us and they were elite and they had money and carriages and princesses and horses and like the movies. That's how I always looked at them. They were like what we would never see in real life, we would never obtain to. And I know that sounds negative, but that was always my view. Like they were like, the idols, the people to look up to that you would never have what they have or walk a day in their life kind of people.
and then you have and then and then you have so many people that have so many titles, like the Prince of Wales, the Duke of Dorchester, the Duke of this, the Earl of this, the Countess of whatever, the Earl of this. I mean, it's like going on, and it's like after a while, it gets to be a plethora of titles and whatnot.
Yeah, like I honestly don't even know what all that stuff means. I don't even know what a duchess. What does that mean to be a duchess? I don't know. Like I hear it used so many ways and so many terms. Like I don't even know what a real duchess is. And I never needed to know. I never had to take a test about it or be in an environment where I needed to know what that term meant. So it kind of like, oh well, it doesn't really apply to me. It's not something I need to be educated on, kind of sort of, because it's not my lifestyle.
Well, these
Or
are
it's like
all
something I don't
titles
have
of
the
one,
opportunity to
you
be
know,
a
of
part of either.
well, it's all titles that have to do with a monarchy, and depending whether it's your title, it would indicate whether how close you are to the throne and what have you. So it's just like multiple titles. That's all it is.
Okay, see, if someone would have told me that 10, 15, 20 years ago, I'm like, oh, okay, same thing. We got a president, they got a president, but they don't call it a president, they call it something else.
It's like it's like you have all these titles for the honorable so and so, the president of the United States, the honorable so and so, the vice president, the honorable whatever, senator from blah blah blah, and the congressman from blah blah blah. We have our own titles here in the United States. It's just that a lot of people call the honorable this, the honorable that.
Okay, I see what you mean. I don't know. I just felt like the Royals, the British, that was a always out of touch, out of sight thing. Like I'm not gonna go on a vacation and be able to visit and walk inside the houses and have dinner and rent a room. Like that's not gonna happen. Like you're gonna have to be behind a gate, behind so many fences. It's gonna be like a tourist amusement thing. Like, so I just heard some echo on my end. Sorry about
Well,
that.
the fact of the matter, okay. Well, the fact of the if you're one of those rare few that actually get the supreme privilege to now His Majesty, there's a whole set of protocols which you have to follow in order to conduct yourself when you're dining with royalty.
Yeah, sounds like a lot of work. Kind of sounds like religion almost. I know like they have a lot of rules and stuff you can't break, you can't do this, down the third, and you could be cast out if you do or whatever, something like that.
Well,
I don't mean to say it negatively. I'm educated about
think
it. I
of
wanted
what.
to say that coming across. I don't mean to come across negative or like I'm downing it. I just don't know.
Yeah. Well, look, the reality is this: it's a foreign concept because we don't have to worry about all that bowing and curtsy and you say, Your Majesty, the royal prompt, the royal prince, whatever, and Your Highness, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I think I saw like on Netflix at one point they had like the story of Princess Diana. I think like up until her death or whatever the case is, something like that. And they touched base on several parts of like dinner and how the royals do dinner, the different settings, the plates, how it's prepared and all of that. I'm like, wow. I've really, really been at a dinner table where I had so many utensils that I didn't know which one to pick and which one went with which dish. Like that's a lot for me. Like, really, like that's a whole lot. But I understand in other people's world, that's a regular day in the park. But I'm like, I would not know the salad knife from the dinner knife of the meat. I would not know none of that. Like, that whole etiquette class, I definitely missed that. Wish I did have that in my life though, but definitely missed that. It looks interesting, but I know if you live and you're born in it, it's probably like, it could be a lot, it could be overwhelming, especially if you don't feel like you fit in with that lifestyle, you don't want to do it. But I guess it's worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Um, Don Armando, are you there?
I definitely wanted to ask that question too. I'm like, I'm gonna just keep talking though.
Okay. I guess he must have step away for a moment.
I think he's
Um,
playing with some of the controls right now, I think.
it could, it could be. I mean, look, I know for one thing, I'm never going to be invited to a meal with the British monarchy, so I don't have to worry about all that bowing and courtesy and all that, and all those titles which I have to use and whatnot.
Right. I mean, it would be nice to go to like a theme party that was like Royal. That would be fun to dress up like Royal, to dance like Royal, or have that dinner style eating. Like that'd be fun to do, but not to live it 24/7.
All right, I'm back. Okay.
What the French?
Well,
Okay.
from from what I'm saying is that, all right, according to the definition that I'm saying about all those stuff, apparently I don't know. I guess maybe for the British or other royal families, the titles that are given by the royal families to individuals are Duke, Marquess, Earl, Viscount, and Baron for men. Duchess, Marchioness, Countess, Viscountess, and Baroness for women. Countess, Viscount.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, it's it's an interesting topic. But if you don't
For
mind,
Yeah, it
sure.
is.
I'm gonna talk about something else.
All right.
I mean, because in 4 weeks it'll be my birth. It'll be in 4 weeks. It'll be my birthday.
That's
Ow.
nice. Nice.
So, are you buying an outfit? Are you doing going to like get your hair cut or anything special happening?
Well, I'm
Well, I mean,
well, of course we're going to be involved in delegate training, so I'm probably going to have a few drinks on my birthday.
Alcohol?
nice.
What
Yes,
you like, dark
alcohol.
liquor or white liquor, Jose? What you drink?
You know what? I usually drink nothing hard. I'll drink wine. I'll have beer once in a blue moon. One thing I never tried Hennessy.
Oh,
You
wow.
gotta try Hennessy from New York City, the Bronx. You gotta try Hennessy.
Thank you. Nah, but I could tell you this. If he never tried Hennessy before, I could say that the rarest Hennessy that everybody goes to the Caribbean for is Hennessy White.
Absolutely, that's the best one you can ever get, Jose. If you can get it.
Okay, because I heard a lot about this Hennessy. I never tried it though.
Okay, you need that for your birthday. We're gonna have to work on getting you a bottle of Hennessy for your birthday. You're gonna be 60.
I'll be 60.
We're gonna have to work on getting you a bottle of Hennessy for your 60th birthday. Don't drink it all. I'm pretty sure you won't be able to, but yeah, you need a bottle of Hennessy for your birthday.
Yeah.
No, 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 no. Believe me, no. I'm not much of a. I mean, I'm not much of a big drinker. I mean, it's just that I have to have. I gotta have at least try one glass.
I
Well,
mean,
you could be one of those people that let the bottle sit. I know a lot of people have bottles in their house and they don't even drink it, or they just sit there, or they like decorations, or they get to it, when they want to. They have like all these different bottles they want, and they just like knowing that they have them there, and they don't even always drink them.
right.
And it's a good way to go to sleep. A
Yeah.
Hennessy sleep is
Well,
a nice sleep.
Well, it's
okay.
like okay,
Well, actually,
when
there's quite a few. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I mean, back in my single days, I always used to have like as a starter, I always had like Hennessy and cranberry juice, and I just be chill with that because I know I can handle it. I didn't try to go overboard like certain people. I remember one day I was in a bar, restaurant, whatever, and and this is my single days. Never in the history
Hmm.
of club going or anything like that, a woman will buy a man a big bottle of Belvedere.
Hmm.
I've had several
So
times throwing up, so yeah, it
Okay.
gets crazy.
yeah, it's like there was like two Puerto Rican females. I remember this like it was yesterday. We were all vibing and everything like that. There was
Hmm.
like, where you from? I was like, okay, I'm Dominican, and you were just vibing and stuff. The next thing you know, they just left. It was like, yo, this whole bottle's for you. I was like, wow. I was drinking it and everything like that. It was a guy that I met on the internet that invited me to his club, Johnny Cash. So that night I was like, yo, it as I was wasted. I ain't gonna lie, and it was good because never in the history I never had women that just came up to me and they thought that I was good looking, and they just gave you a whole bottle of Belvedere. I think it was Belvedere or Grey Goose, if I'm not mistaken. But I know the bottle was big though.
That's white liquor. That Grey Goose, that Belvedere, that's white.
Yeah.
Well, I had a few days of, being drunk out of my mind and not remembering the night before, or throwing up, or having like a bad experience or having like a good experience. But you got to know your tolerance, and once you learn your tolerance, you good. Like now, I know the signs of I had enough. So before, when I was young in my 20s, that sign didn't go off. Like, nah, we lit, we having fun, we out here, we me and my girls or whatever the case is. You just trying to have a good time, and sometimes people obsessively drink because they can't be themselves, or they can't come out their comfort zone or their shell, so they need that captain, hook on them so they could be outgoing and fun and lively or do things they normally wouldn't do.
I mean, like for example, back in the day, there was when I used to work in a survey place, me and my friends most of the times, we made it like a thing to go to this place called Zios. It was like around 39th and 40th, and like around Roosevelt Boulevard and JFK or something like that. So we made it like that was like our go-to thing just to go to that bar. It was like $1 $1 beers or something like that. We down like maybe 6 or 7 of them. Then we went home and stuff. We talked about various topics, women, um, sports, and who was the best rapper, etc. So, and then on top of it, you had certain people that didn't hold their liquor after 2 beers. I was like, at least, and then some people they didn't know how to handle their liquor at all. The next, thing you know, they had a fight with security. I'm like, I'm too old for that crap.
Yeah, I definitely learned to who to hang out with and have drinks with, or who to invite over to your house to have drinks and who not to, because certain people can't handle their liquor and they ready to fight, or they are embarrassing, or they get real sloppy, and that's not a good look.
I mean, yeah, because I went like
No.
I went to like the to house parties or whatever the case may be, and I never really got into anything, thank God, because all the people that I've been with, either it's my family or friends, is like I remember when I used to go to East New York to my homie's crib. He was like, "Yo, this is a positive aura, etc." Yo, me and a couple of the homies, we just got drunk out of our mind. We was dancing and everything. We had a DJ at the time. We was wasted, took pictures wasted and everything. It was actually a good time. I could actually say that. So, and then sometimes I used to go to the Dominican clubs like for an event and such. I knew my tolerance because I could go to a Dominican club, but first of all, I don't look the part, and then the security guards they want to give you the eye test to see if you're really who you are, or else they won't let you in. And then when people know who you are, they'll be like, "Yeah, he's with me," or "He's right there." He's like, "Pero este," they'll be saying like in Spanish, like, "Yo, this guy don't look like one of us." Like, come on, he's with us, and that was it.
Yeah, it be like that. So especially in New York, there's so many bars and restaurants and like places to drink and eat. Like people be drunk all over the city, in the train stations out here, outside on the ground, in the streets. Like, and sometimes it will be homeless people. It be regular people. They be so wasted. Like we got so many after work spots, or like PM spots or lunch spots where they have alcohol everywhere, and people be at work drunk. I mean, not necessarily my job, but jobs period, because there's so many restaurants and places to eat or get a $3 beer or $5 wine. Like it's alcohol everywhere out here.
Nah, but you want to know what's? I'm talking about like via 2012, 2011, 2012, 2013, right? It was like when I was when I went to work or night or whatever the case may be, went got bent, and whatever the case may be. I always used to try to get bent in my mom and well when I was living with my mom didn't know. I mean she did, but I wasn't to the point that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be so drunk that I don't know what it is. What I did, if I knew that I was gonna get drunk, I just went got myself a 40 or something. Maybe not a Hennessy, but just a small bottle. But I stuck to my 40s and my Presidentes. So it was it was just it was just like, okay, I work hard. I deserve to get drunk. But now I just
That's
don't really
funny.
be on.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like now I don't really drink that much. I may drink once in a blue moon, but certain stuff has changed in my life, so I
Of
don't do
course,
the stuff that I
adulting,
don't.
adulting has
Yeah,
happened in your life.
yeah. So I don't try to do the certain things that I do when I was a young man. Let's just put it like that. Because you have certain people who are even to this day that they'll be drinking or whatever the case may be. So
Jose, have you ever been intoxicated?
Um, once, maybe once or twice, I have, but it's
Tell
been
us
a long
about your
time.
intoxication.
Okay. Well, I remember a couple of years ago when I went to Albany for a Latino conference, and was hanging out with another of our uh, a member of our union family, and I had this weird beer that I had never tried before. The next thing you know, I was getting a buzz, and I was like, okay, so maybe just sit down and not say anything because I might do end up doing something stupid under the influence of alcohol. Other than that, I mean, I know when I was in the DR, I think I had like one glass of wine too many. Other than that, I don't really recall being uh, intoxicated.
well, okay. Well, as a kid, alcohol was always easy access. You got that young uncle, you got that uncle or aunt that gives you a little bit when you're a kid, but it wasn't nothing that much. But then when I really got drunk was for my 18th birthday. I ain't gonna tell you who got me drunk because it'll be deemed illegal, but who cares? They got me drunk, and it was all for Alizé. Then that same year, I went to the Dominican Republic. This is a good thing for young men to, if you're in the Caribbean, always go with your older cousins. I drank like Presidentes back to back to back, and and I ended up barfing in public because you know I I couldn't handle it because what a lot of people don't understand is that the beers here in the United States is crap. It's watered down. It's only gonna get that strong. If you go outside the United States, I'm talking about foreign beers, etc. The beers is strong, and it could be more stronger than a Hennessy or anything like that.
Are you talking about imported and domestic beers too?
Yes,
I never had beer outside of the United States.
yeah, because I talk to a lot of beer connoisseurs
I
or
mean,
whatever the case.
I've had alcohol outside of the United States, but not beer.
All right. I mean, the only beer that I've had outside the United States is on Presidente. But when I used to live in Jersey City, I used to drink like the imported beers from Japan, and then imported wines from Chile and Argentina. So it was like a Indian store that had all foreign label beers, and then right beside it, it was a liquor store because in Jersey at that time you just can't go to the bodega and get yourself a beer because they don't sell it like that. So you have to go to the liquor store to get your beer and stuff. So there was two liquor stores, one that sold beer and the other one that sold wine and all the other fly fancy stuff. I mean, I used to drink wine from Argentina, Chile, and then they had beers from China, Japan, Sapporo, and I forgot Asahi. So I when I was living, it was like around Palisade Avenue. Those two stores at that time, I'm talking about like 2008, 2009 in Jersey City. Those that was the spot for everybody to get their liquor at.
My brother and sister live in Jersey City, and we found out, my brother and my sister.
Yeah. Well, it depends because what neighborhood did they live in?
Hmm.
I don't know really. I just know they live by Kennedy Boulevard. They live by Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. I remember taking like the they got like this railroad train what got like it's not like a regular underground train. It's like a above ground train, the light rail. I remember taking the light rail to their
Yeah.
house a lot, but they live like really close to New York, like really close to World Trade Center. Like I remember Kennedy Boulevard was one address they had. I know they had another address. I think hmm, really close to like Liberty State Park. I don't know if that's like a landmark you remember, but I know there's like a Liberty
Yeah, I
State Park.
remember that.
I would pass, and it would be like two stops after Liberty State Park. I would walk to their house from that train. So they were
Yeah,
really close in Jersey City.
I actually remember that. I mean, I remember when I was like I used to live up in Zabriskie and JFK Kennedy Boulevard, and then the Indians they always used to have like they used to celebrate their Independence Day, but then sometimes like up in Jersey City, the Dominicans and blacks didn't really rock with each other like that because of whatsoever the case may be.
Nah, but my sister is Dominican, Puerto Rican, and black. We got the same dad, so she looks just like me, but she got Dominican hair, like Spanish complexion, like so she's Dominican and black, but she looks more to me. She looks more Spanish than black, in my opinion, but she sounds black. My
All
brother
right.
looked black for sure.
I mean, like for example, in my case, right?
Hmm.
Okay. Um, I don't know, but I guess to some racists and to some big heads, I am not Dominican because of the way that I sound or express myself. And when certain people see me with the Dominican flag, they'll try to tell me to take it off or whatever, which that's not going to happen. So the dynamics out there when I was living in Jersey City, you had some people who were cool, but in Union City, they were very racist. Like one day, I almost got into an argument with the Cuban guy, but then when the Cuban guy realized that I was Dominican, everything was like, all right, chill. And then there was a chick that used to work up in El Especialito that went up and was like, I was just working and everything. And then the next thing you know, she was asking like, yo, why all these black people are coming to Union City? The Puerto Rican chick had to correct him like, yo, he's not just you're a regular black guy. He's Dominican too. He's like, oh crap, I didn't know. You know, I had a lot of those.
I
while
mean,
I'm
from
looking
my
this.
observation, I feel like you look Dominican, but you don't sound Dominican. You know, like even in your profile picture right now, like you look Dominican, but you don't sound Dominican. You sound black.
Yeah, that's the Bronx for you.
I hope I'm not offending you. I don't mean to if I am.
Nah, I mean, I know I don't sound like you're a traditional Dominican, so I've been that's what I've been with. My sister don't sound like a traditional Dominicana either. So, and it's like what and between like me, my brother, and my sister, right? This how the I guess the Spanish scale goes.
Mhm.
My older brother, right? He speaks Spanish, understands Spanish, but he speaks it slow. My sister
Mhm.
understands understands Spanish, but and speak it a little bit, but not grammatically. Me, I speak Spanish, but I speak it with a bad accent, whatever the case may be. So, bienvenido,
Mhm.
Giorgio.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody, on this fabulous Friday.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jojo.
Good evening to you. Hey, Jose.
Mhm.
So, I guess what's on tonight's agenda and what's going on here?
Well, it's basically open discussion.
Yeah, I hopped in for a little bit, but you can see that the topic is regarding like
Well, this is
culture,
open.
who looks more and such, something like that. I just,
I mean, yeah, because earlier we were just talking about, I guess, the passing of Queen Elizabeth. What a lot of people actually was saying. You had certain people that was disrespecting her memory. You had certain people that was that that they were truly sad, like the people in the United Kingdom. So it's um it's actually a weird dynamic because since Queen Elizabeth lived that long and her son is now 73, how much longer he's gonna live while he's a king, I guess.
frankly, I've avoided like commenting on her recent passing just because of how many people have politicized and polarized her death. And I just see so many sides on my Facebook profile, like deleting one another and just getting at it with one another. And I'm just gonna stay out of that crossfire.
I totally understand. Like I didn't put post about it. I commented about it here and on Jose Negron's platform. Um, I have my own feelings. We all have our own feelings, but I definitely understand your perspective on why you're just not never gonna touch it. Like it's just a lot.
Yeah, and I'm just very indifferent to the whole thing anyway. So I'm not gonna really lose sleep over the passing of her, but I'm not going to spit all over her or mourn her either. It's just I have like no feeling on the subject matter.
Same here. By the way, love your eyes.
Thank you.
But no disrespect to anyone who does. I mean, I don't mean to come off negative or anything like that. I can't really appreciate why the world is going bananas right now, but I understand, as Don Armando said some things that made me come to realize, like, you know what, we do have some British actors that are big in America for film and TV, so I understand that crossover part, but everything else, I'm like, what does that have to do with us? But I don't mean to be insensitive.
I share the same sentiment, but yeah.
Well, I mean, there's also speculation how King Charles will um, how he's going to be looked around as the new monarch, and also remember that he's the head of the Church of England, which is kind of ironic considering some of the skeletons that are in the British monarch's closets.
Yeah.
So, the Dawn, do you have another open discussion panel on Sunday? Because I think I saw that in your update. Because if so, I would also like to tune in.
Um, the other is not. I don't think it's an open discussion that I have. It's I'm trying to talk to artists in the Dominican Republic because I have like my own shows in two sections. One, I guess, open discussion for everybody, and second is for like artists in the Dominican Republic that I'm trying to talk to. So I'm just trying to differentiate on, okay, we talk about open discussions, and then I'm trying to promote the Dominican urban movement in English and Spanish, so everybody could get a grasp of what's going on within the urban movement in the Dominican Republic.
Cool. Now,
I
this might
definitely would
not
be
be
surprised to log into that as well too.
cool. So, like, this might not be possible, but Dawn, what I was suggesting is that you should try
Hi,
reaching
everybody.
out to those two guys who were part of that Dominican group. I think they were called Extreme. I think one of them's name is Danny D. It'll be awesome if you were to reach out to him and get him on here. I used to like those guys back in the day.
All right. Yeah.
And then, or even Angel and Chris, who were best known for the Ben Bailalo song.
Right.
Yep. Just, some classics and suggestions out there, if it's even possible.
I mean, that's a good suggestion.
Because it's not like
So-
they're like big time Jennifer Lopez types of celebrities who will just turn down everything.
Right.
I think they would be very open to it.
Yep.
Don, I want to thank you for allowing me on your platform. I'm gonna cut out now. I really appreciate this. I hope I can come by again.
Oh yeah, you're always welcomed.
And thank you for tuning in to my little videos when I post as well. Shout out to everybody here in the panel. Shout out to the chat. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here with you all today.
Likewise.
Okay.
Have a great day.
Bye.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah, what's real? Good night, Keisha.
all right, Marquise, if you have like a gripe or whatever the case may be, here's the link.
For a minute, I thought Sakurai is trying to get on the platform. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Guys.
Howdy.
Okay.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Just
Go
waiting
back.
for you guys.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. Marquise has a couple issues. I mean, it's entirely his point of view, but it's like,
I'm back, y'all. I'm
but
having
I mean,
problems,
look,
technical
most, I
problems
mean,
here.
look,
It says it's having articles unstable. I'm sorry. It's me. It's
All
me,
right.
Armando. I can't hear what you're saying because
All right.
this thing, this StreamYard is acting a fool, and I do believe somebody at StreamYard is acting a fool. Like they probably know what happened between me and Louis. I'm not to bring the drama here. It's just that I believe that I know it's at 7 and 8 o'clock, Central Time, 'cause y'all in Eastern. The StreamYard acts a fool, but if it's around by 9, 10, 11, or close to 12 midnight, I'm okay to come in. I'm turning my mic off.
All right.
okay.
Got you.
Okay. Can y'all hear me now?
I can
Yeah,
hear
we
you
hear
just
you.
great.
Yes.
Okay, it's me. I had to get another account. I guess they know me on StreamYard. Like I say, I don't know what it is. I ain't trying to bring a witchcraft or anything, but I don't trust these tech people. So we got talking about hip
Yeah,
hop.
yeah, I know. I know. I'll be having my stuff with StreamYard as well. So I guess whenever I get into their subscription or whatever the case, or or whatever, I think I'll have a better show or something.
Can't hear what you're
Whatever.
saying because it sounds like a robot on my end. You sound like a robot on my end. I don't know what's going on with StreamYard with this phone. And it's saying
Hey,
because of huh?
I can hear
yeah,
everyone just clearly. I can hear
What's wrong
yeah.
you,
I
with
mean, I hear
Zacchaeus, and
everybody,
Dawn.
but sometimes, so, like I guess on my end sometimes, because I guess of the reception in my room. So
What it might help. Okay. Okay. If you're using like a laptop or a phone, um, if you move closer to to the modem, that might help with your reception. Or it could be the laptop itself. I mean, I have had problems with my internet connection as well.
My connection so far is just fine, guys, and I can hear everyone just clearly.
Okay.
No one sounds like robots, and no, there's no static sounds, there's no pixelations, there's none of that. Just the way it is.
that's what's
Okay.
up. So,
Yeah.
Georgia, where you from?
We're originally from California, but I reside down here in Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay,
Hmm.
But yeah,
I've always
but
wanted to go to Los Angeles.
yeah, it's just about a good 4 hours away from where I am if you drive. But if you fly there, you can get there in under an hour via plane.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Philadelphia, but originally I'm from New York, and I do have a friend in Los Angeles, and I do have two friends in Oakland that I talk to on a regular basis.
Nice. I'm actually from Berkeley, which is
Yeah.
just right next to Oakland.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So, well, yeah, it's just a small world
Two
there.
months. Yeah. 2 months ago, when I was in Philadelphia for a week, I actually ran into Don Armando, and we actually had a time to break bread and just chew the fat.
Yeah, if I make it out that way, I'll go over there and pay you guys a visit because I especially loved exchanging words with you,
Hmm.
Dawn, when you were in the Telegram group just for debate. But I don't go there
yeah.
anymore.
Hmm.
I mean, it's like for just for debate, right? I mean, it's funny because you have all these, you have all these racists, right? So
Oh, yeah.
I, I play a role over there, like I'm this jerk or whatever the case may be, because it's like okay, within that, right? you have all these racists, right? And nobody's really talking about anything. They want to blame a certain subset of people. So you just talk to them, and some of them are actually respectful, and then some of them are actually not. They actually go and they show there was one I guess from Britain that was like, oh, try to show me the Nazi symbol on his chest. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I know that guy.
I was like, yeah, you're not saying nothing to me.
Yeah, it's like what it basically that chat is that it's also been a chat that's just been subverted by like a lot of neo-Nazi elements who go in there.
I
And
mean,
usually the owner allows it because he just wants that open discussion. And he just also wants to add in the elements of chaos just to make the group like more attractive to people who are just addicted to that stuff.
like for example, it's funny because of the just debate, right? Like for 2 times that I got kicked out by the racist or whatever the case may be, that Scottish woman, and whatever the case may be, whatever I say is like, okay, I just say this chat because I could have a persona as whoever I could be. So these guys, they could go around and talk about whatsoever the case may be. I'll say, hey, I'll say a certain thing about females or whatever the case, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're this, you're that." And to me, it's funny because I guess you could call it LARPing or whatever. So I'll bring that to the chat room. But the thing is, though, I just bring it like I'm a troll, but nobody really understand. And then the owner was like, "So why you talk about this stuff?" I'm like, easy, because y'all boring. I actually talk to the owner sometimes. Like, you guys are boring. Like, let's face it, you always post memes about the same stuff on how a certain group of people control the media, how they make your life bad, and how you're gonna fight this fictitious race war, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, half you guys don't even have a woman or whatever the case may be. So I just act
Yeah.
like, hey, I just say the stupidest stuff in that room because there's certain people who are intellects, there's certain people who are just trolls. So I just act like what it is.
No, that it almost yeah. So like they usually will talk a lot about like Jewish control of like media in Hollywood. That is
Right.
true, but the thing is that these people are also claiming to be the master race. So you're the master race while at the same time being a victim to the Jew. That's a very self-contradictory claim and belief to have. So which is it?
Yeah.
Because if we're the master race, then we're not going to be able to become victimized by somebody else.
Beautiful.
Because if we're victimized by somebody else, then that
Beautiful.
in itself shows us how demoralized we
Yeah.
are from the beginning. And it took another group of people for us to
Yeah.
come out with our colors. See how asinine that
Yeah.
shit is, man? That's just ridiculous. But yeah, I'm very familiar with those circles. I've been around a lot of those people. I've met some even in real life. And there usually are a bunch of
Yeah.
nobodies.
Like for example, right? I was getting into it with this dude when I said like, okay, I'm Dominican. The next thing the guy was telling me was like, oh, this guy Anthony Batista. I was like, yeah, I cursed him out,
Oh, yeah,
and it was like,
Chivo. Yeah, Chivo 2121.
yeah,
Yep,
he's
I
an
know.
idiot.
Yeah, he goes by Chivo. He even has his YouTube on here too. I called him out, by the way.
Which
I said,
which gets shut down like every 3 or 4 months.
yeah, I called Anthony out. I'm like, dude, shut up, man. If anything else, so
yo,
um, if
I
anything
went up
else,
and I asked.
Trujillo, I'm telling you that dude Trujillo would actually be the first. You would be the first one to be executed by Trujillo. So
Nah,
you over here
I
like
said,
basically bootlicking him is stupid.
I'm like, I actually had an argument on the Dominican Independence Day on Fighters channel. We were just me. I got into an argument with this idiot named Macho because I didn't like the stuff he said. So I said, "F you." He went up and tried to disrespect my. He was saying disrespectful things about my wife. So I went up and I let off on him. I cursed him the f out on Fighters channel. And he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna fight you." I'm like, "Guy, meet me." So I saw the idiot in the Dominican parade. You just a tall, um, excuse my French, but he was nothing but a tall bitch. So, me personally, you want to talk about that you're a Dominican fighter and you're fighting for the independence and stuff, but yet you will never come to the hood. You're a bitch, and that's how I see it. Then on top of
Yeah,
then on top of
yeah,
it, Macho has a stupid thing which is called, oh, he's gonna take your Dominican card, or I'm gonna revoke your Dominican card. I'm like, the only people that could actually revoke my Dominican card, God bless their souls, are dead. So who the heck are you? And then on top of it, his system is so stupid is that he went up and told a native born Dominican woman that her Dominican card is revoked, but yet you was born in the United States. So therefore, technically, she could revoke your card because she was born in the land.
yeah. Though, and then also like many like the Dominicans, even who were growing up, around like Washington Heights, New York, and just many other like neighborhoods all around like Philly or New Jersey and Florida, they tend to be a little bit different than the ones who were actually born there on the island. And sometimes there's even like conflicts between the two. Like even the ones on the islands would say the ones born here aren't really real. I've heard that quite a bit. So
Oh yeah,
people
trust
can
me, I
say
get that.
that
I get
Anthony
that.
is illegitimate too, as everyone else born here on American soil.
Right.
Well, the thing that's bizarre. I mean, if you take a look at him, his phenotype. I mean, he swore up and down that he's white. I mean, he's anything other than that. And the fact that he glorifies Spain so much, but yet if he was to try to go to Spain, I mean, you would be you would get a rude awakening over there in Spain.
Yeah, rude awakening by a punch in your mouth by the Spaniard police.
Yeah, it's just like kind of like with Anthony, or in other words, Chivo 2121. The guy is irrelevant. Everyone knows that he's irrelevant, has no power, and how only like a teeny tiny number of people are in his camp. And then he even had like the audacity to even say that, oh, shut up though. You're not Dominican. So get out of here. I'm like, well, dude, neither is more than half your audience, because more than half your audience are just neo-Nazi trolls. So what difference does it make?
I'll be like, for example, right? I'll tell you how I didn't even know about the race talk or whatever, the race thing on YouTube or whatever. I was just answering Chivo because Chivo went up and made a disparaging video about a merengue legend by the name of Johnny Ventura that had passed away. So on his own page, right, which is of utter pure stupidity, right? This guy went up and alleges that Johnny Ventura was a Haitian, and you had a whole bunch of liars, and I say this liars because they do not know their history. I went up and argued with them, and it was like, oh, well, don't you know how Haitians are police? First of all, these guys are not even in tune with their own history. Second of all, Johnny Ventura's father what was a military official during the Trujillo time. So for anybody around that Trujillo time, and he was a military official, 9 times out of 10, that guy Johnny Ventura was a patriot. For and for a bunch of racists to try to make up lies just to disrespect the memory of a man that actually provided Dominican audiences with good music over the course of, I would say, 50 or 60 years. And then his untimely passing, because he passed at 81 years old, for no bit racist to actually disrespect that man's legacy, and nobody ain't called him up on it. I was like, nah. I just went up and I just stated facts, and then he was trying to tell me how much of not of a Dominican I am or whatever. I was like, well, look at my Instagram. I'm more Dominican than you, and I blocked him.
What's ironically enough, though, is that he's fighting with other Dominicans than other people. I'm like, dude, you're all about Dominican fascism and nationalism, but here you are scrapping with your own people more than anyone else. How hypocritical!
Exactly. These guys, they could talk the big talk, but I went up and I was talking to a fighter like in the middle of March, and I actually told him like, yo, I believe that between Macho and Chivo, I called in my book, I called them traitors, because the reason why I called them traitors is you could go talk that big talk about how you are for the Dominican nationalist or whatever your messed up belief is, right? Let's see. When it comes to war, if you're going to be in the forefront or you're going to still be in the background just talking. That's what makes, and me personally, I already know the answer. You're not going to go take arms. Y'all just talking. Y'all just talking on the internet, trying to this African Americans on TikTok or whatever the case may be, just because you want to say that you're Republican or whatever the case. And then when people don't agree with you, you want to go and try to say that you want to disrespect their. Just 1 second.
Yeah, man, take your time.
Mhm.
Yeah, so as I was saying, they want to make disparaging comments about, I guess, somebody who do not oppose their views about their love life, or they want to disrespect their wives or whatever. Me in the case, you and I'm newly married because I just really made a year this last August with my wife. If you're gonna go,
Congratulations.
thank you. If you're gonna go and try to talk all that, I went up and I just lost it, whatever the case may be, because you're not gonna go around and talk about a man's wife and he ain't gonna check you. My pops didn't stand for it, and I'm not, and neither will I. And then on top of it, you wanted to say that you're such a Republican and alpha male. Like, I saw him at the Dominican parade. He's nothing but a damn punk. I'm talking about macho. He's looking all scared when you see a whole sea of black Dominicans with the flag on. Didn't say nothing. I was like, you ain't no revolutionary. You're just a punk that talks. And
Well,
then
Yeah,
on
you
that's
top,
what
have
it all
some.
boils down to at the end of the day, though, is that these people, they will put on like the big bad wolf persona on the internet, but when it boils down to real life, they get completely back into like a beta stance or in fetal
exactly.
position.
Hmm.
But what were you about to say, Jose?
Yeah, I mean, basically, what you have is keyboard warriors. They get all big and tough because they are behind a keyboard. But once you deal with them in person, it's like they're like Mickey Mouse.
Basically.
Yeah. So I mean, like, in addition to all of that stuff, like, Don, what I will say is that, I come from the angry biracial crew. Do you remember you actually being on one of his panel? So
I
yes, I
mean,
am
yeah,
not
because
I'm not of any Caribbean origin. My ethnic background is actually mulatto Louisiana Creole. But you
right,
being Dominican, along with like Puerto Ricans, I see you guys as being one of me. Because although we're very different culturally, in an ethnic genetic sense, we're about the same. Because there was this other Dominican guy who I met, and he showed me
right,
like his ancestral results. This guy
right,
looks like me, and his ethnic composition is so similar to mine,
right.
except he has that Arawak native DNA in him, and I have like the Choctaw. So I'm like, dude, we're hardly any different, other than maybe
I
from a
mean,
cultural standpoint. So that's
I mean,
why,
it's funny because,
I'm here and I love Spanish, and you're one of me, bro, in a
of
close
course,
ally sense.
exactly, because it's like my upbringing is so weird, and whenever I was saying that, you have certain people that will try to discredit me or whatever, because there was a time that I grew up down south. So when I grew up down south, Gulfport, Mississippi, to be exact, with my aunt and my brother. When I was in grade school over there, always heard of the teachers talk about the Choctaw Indians, and I don't know what region that they inhabited in the United States, but the word Choctaw always was etched in my memory from when I was like 7 or 8 years old. So when you actually mentioned that on Georgia, um, and the Louisiana or Bayou Creole, my late aunt's husband, I guess you would consider him Creole, or I don't know. I guess that's the historical term. But nobody would ever think that he was a black man. But when when me and my mother used to have discussions, he used to tell people when they used to use the N word freely, like back in the day, he he used to tell them politely, please don't say that word against near me. Now, nobody really, because up north, it's like it was a different animal as in down south. But if you actually look at it, those times was rough. I could actually say that from what I've talked to older people in the United States and older people that came in the United States around the 1950s, 60s, and early 70s.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm listening.
Yeah.
Oh,
So, hey, Marquise, you're welcome to come on the panel. All right. Now we got the introvert Boricua. You're always welcome here.
Hey,
Hola,
hey,
Ramon,
don
¿cómo
Armando,
está?
what's going on, man? Todo bien, don Armando, todo bien.
Yeah.
Welcome
Don
aboard.
Jose, don Jose,
hey,
what's
good
going
evening.
on? Is your name George?
Oh, I'm just
My God.
Yeah,
Okay.
howdy.
Hey, how you doing? How you guys doing? Thanks for having me on
Oh,
the panel, Armando.
anytime.
Anytime.
Just having an
Uh,
yeah.
open discussion about just about whatever.
okay, yeah, because I know that I was only able to listen to what you were saying just a little bit. It's just that I'm here, I got company and all, but I did wanted to jump in for like a few minutes. So I appreciate you letting me on the panel. Giorgio, you were mentioning something about uh, something that had to do with race relations, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
we
I
was
was
actually
just Oh, go
All
on,
right.
Don.
I mean, at first, me and Keitel, we was actually talking. We was first talking about the current news, which is the death of Queen Elizabeth, and then I
Oh,
guess we were talking about race relations and
okay.
and
Well,
certain
when it comes to the
conferences back
Queen,
in history
I
and
guess.
stuff.
I see. I see. No, no, no. When it comes to what happened with the Queen, I guess no one is to feel. Nobody is to be glad about that. I mean, but at the same time, we're on the other side of the Atlantic. I mean, that really doesn't have anything to do with us. Where we were not the Queen's subjects. So that's kind
Yeah.
of inconsequential. The only thing that I know is that now, because the Queen is deceased, now Charles is gonna. He was already um, he was already
Crown Prince.
initiated as the king. I understand.
Yeah, he's the crown prince.
Okay, yeah, yeah, but there were people that were saying that it should be William. That they should skip Prince Charles and just give the crown to one of his firstborn, meaning William. Well, I don't think that's the way it works because apparently some people don't like Charles. Uh, but then again, whatever. That doesn't have anything to do with us. So I'm I'm a bit indifferent when it comes to that. No, but you were talking about the whole thing about uh, when it comes to race. Uh, I'm not gonna mention names because I don't wanna make them feel important. But on your comments right now, there was mentioning about the whole thing about the FBAs, and once again, the whole thing about how us Latinos hate FBAs, this and that. And the thing is that that might have something to do. The FBAs are feeling bold because I mean, their leader Tariq got them uh, got his followers wanting to beef with us. Apparently, because of the whole thing with hip hop. The first thing that I'm gonna say to that is that I stand with Busta Rhymes. What he said, I mean, about how Latinos were part of hip hop from the very beginning, and I know that Tariq Nasheed is trying to deny that. He's trying to do this whole revisionist shit and like painting us as the enemy because according to him we're trying to steal hip hop from African Americans, which is not true because it will have happened by now. If that's something that we actually wanted to do, it will have happened by now. Because there is a certain faction that have been trying to write us off. My fellow Latinos from New York, from the United States. I'm an islander. What the hell do I know? but but they have been trying to write Latinos, New York Latinos, North American Latinos out of hip hop since the 1980s. But the thing is that they're not succeeding in it because the truth cannot be buried. They cannot bury the truth. The truth is always going to come back up, and that's what's happening. That's what the FBAs are fighting so hard against. They're fighting hard against truth. I mean, if it were a lie that Latinos, particularly my fellow Puerto Ricans from New York, have been part of hip hop from the very beginning, if it were a lie, it would have been buried and done with it. That history would have been corrected. But the thing is that it's not a lie. They have been part of hip hop from the very beginning in the mid '70s, and there are hip hop legends and historians that have already confirmed that. There are already interviews and videos that you can find online. People that actually are in the know, people that were there from the very beginning. But the argument, the narrative is, us Latinos are a bunch of cultural vultures, and uh, we're trying to steal hip hop from Black Americans, and we're the bad guys right now. It seems. But the thing is that if they were so concerned about it, they should take that up with the people that might actually be the actual owners of hip hop, the ones that are actually profiting from it, because it's not us. It's not us. I mean, it's just that
Uh,
that narrative is getting very tiresome. That's all I'm saying. My bad. I'll shut up now.
Ramon,
Yes,
you know what's the
yes,
problem
sir.
with that? Would you like me to? Would you like to say, or shall I say
I
it?
have I have an idea of what you're gonna say, but still, I'll listen.
It makes too much sense.
Exactly, exactly. The thing is that no, we're not. I want to say this specifically to your figure that you are African American.
You're you're um you're what is it called? You kind of breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I'm breaking up. Oh, my
Yeah,
bad.
you've been kind of breaking in and out here in a bit, and
Oh,
sometimes it's kind of hard to
oh,
hear you.
I
But I heard like
see.
at least half of what you were saying though, and I don't agree that
Ah,
anyone
damn.
is trying to steal anything from anybody. But
Yes.
what was your question again? Didn't hear you.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, yeah. Can you hear me better now? Let me see. I'm still
There we
breaking up.
go. There we go. That's better. So start
Oh,
over.
okay, okay.
Ah,
I had, all
now,
right.
now, 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 look who's having trouble with their Wi-Fi now.
Uh,
Wow, everybody's having
no,
connection problems, Wi-Fi, and then everything. Wow.
no, I think it's more of my device. I'm using an older device right now. But something that I was sharing, what I was sharing was that whole narrative about us Latinos trying to steal hip hop from African Americans, which is not true. That's like a bold-faced lie. And the thing is that there are historians and pioneers of hip hop that have already confirmed that there was a presence, that there was already a Latino presence in hip hop from the very beginning. And that was kind of like my argument. I mean, uh, you and that was kind of like the thing. And but
Yeah.
it was coming from the FBA that were insisting on that we're trying to steal, that we're trying to steal hip hop from Black Americans, which is not true. It's
Right.
not true. If that were true, that it would have happened a long time ago. We don't own
Yeah,
it.
that would have
We don't
happened a
own it
long
at
time
all.
ago, but
Yes, yes.
it
I
never
mean,
did. But did you ask me something though? I missed your question.
it's just that I was kind of having a bit of a stream of consciousness. I mean,
Yeah,
uh,
because
but
before you like broke up though, you asked me, "Am I what again?"
you're African American. I mean,
No,
you're African American yourself.
no.
Oh, okay, okay. I see. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because it was kind of like if you have perceived that you were aware of that narrative going on. I mean, about because it's kind of it's safe. It is safe to come at us and accuse us of something like that, which is really not true. I mean, we don't have we don't we did not take ownership of hip hop. I mean, it's something that my peoples, my fellow Puerto Ricans in New York, have been partaking in it since the 70s. I
Yeah,
mean,
like even since like the late '70s, around the time, because like one of like the first like even just the first hip hop songs was "Rapper's Delight" by the Sugar Hill Gang. But even
yeah,
during that time, you had many Puerto Ricans, or better yet, New Yorkers is what they call themselves,
yeah.
actually like coming in and influencing it though. So if anything else, it's always been a culturally integrated genre, not something that's exclusive. And there's even a book about that stuff too. It's just people just don't know their history.
Yeah, yeah, but because the argument from the FBAs is that we're a bunch of culture vultures that are trying to steal hip hop from the rightful owners, and that's which is not true. We're not stealing anything. We don't have it. We can't. It's like they're trying to pay. Talking about the FBAs, I'm not talking about all Black Americans. But I'm talking about the FBAs that are having this narrative that we are trying to steal hip hop. And I stand with Busta Rhymes. Because what was he saying? That the Latinos were there from the very beginning. And another person, but you can look up videos of interviews online, it will be KRS-One. And KRS-One, who is, from what I understand, not just an artist but an historian, he has confirmed it that there was a presence of Latinos in hip hop since the very beginning in the Bronx, since the mid 70s. I mean, but it was just a street culture. It wasn't there wasn't any money in it yet. It was a movement.
Yeah,
I mean,
even like rappers like Fat Joe was even active in like the hip
mhm.
hop scene back in the 80s before he was really starting to become big in the early 90s with his first album dropping in 1993. But it's
Yes,
not very many people know that. But yeah, Fat Joe has always been big though, and he's a New Yorican,
yeah.
so he's always been a part of that integrated musical genre.
Yeah. It's just that even though I shouldn't care so much about it because I'm an islander. I'm from the island. I'm Puerto Rican, but I'm from the island. I'm not from like the northeast or from Florida. I mean, but still, because I do remember being a little kid in the 80s when we started hearing it. We started hearing some of the first rap songs in the mid to late 80s on the island because of the New York connection. We started hearing some of that, and it was embraced. It was embraced in the island immediately. I mean, and we did okay. Yeah. There might be some local kid in the island who started doing rap songs in Spanish, but we were not saying that we invented the shit. I mean, we well were aware where it came from. I mean, we weren't trying to take anything away from where it came from, and it's not just the rapping; it's the culture. That there are different elements of what hip hop is, and that not just the rapping, the DJing, the break dancing, the graffiti. I understand that there is another element to it, but like yeah, there was a presence there. That's what I'm asking for that to be recognized because that I know that the whole thing about Latinos in hip hop, we have been pushed out of it since the 80s, since the 1980s. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Maybe I broke up when I was saying that. And no, the truth cannot be buried. That's why it keeps coming back up. It keeps coming back up because it keeps being confirmed. There was a presence there from Latino. We're not trying to steal anything. We're not trying to steal anything. I mean that whole notion. It's easy because it's safe. It's safe to come at us with that accusation because there is no consequence to it. But that's a lie. It's a lie. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it is also something that has actually sparked up even some racial tensions here in the U.S. though regarding like blacks and Latinos because you have like one that's accusing the other of trying to quote unquote culturally appropriate or
Hmm.
steal stuff, and then you have them saying that hey, that our music was never meant for the Latins, they're stealing it. And no, I don't like rappers like Pitbull. I hear stuff like that coming in. And
Hmm.
even I've known some people that hey, that will switch the channel whenever a music video of a Latin hip hop artist is getting ready to show. And then that in itself just sparks up racial resentment. But all of that stuff is just rooted in a misunderstanding, rooted in ignorance and people's lack of historical knowledge and
Yeah.
even wisdom too. But if they really jot down the historical wisdom and knowledge of what was really going on during that time, because especially when a lot of people are getting up in arms about it, though, when they weren't even growing up in that time, I think
Yeah.
their minds and their perceptions would change drastically.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
So, so, so like they would say that, well, hey, it's black music. Yes, it's black music, but it's Latino music too. It's both.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
as the senior citizen here on the panel, okay, I grew up in the 80s and the 70s in New York. So I can testify the fact that, that, that the African American community and Latinos both play a major role when it comes to hip hop.
Right, right. No, and I respect it. I respect what hip hop is because I've been aware of it since I was a kid, since I was a little kid on an island, because it did have that far of a reach. I mean, we were studying. I remember being a little kid and talking to other kids about some of the artists of the era, and when It Takes Two came out, how much of a big hit it was. I mean, on the island, we were listening to that too. So yeah, we were witnessing what was happening.
Yeah. Wow.
I take it that I'm the youngest one here on the panel because I'm 30, but I love history. I
Ah,
love books. I love it all.
you're still a kid. You're
Thank
still
Well,
a kid. Good
you.
for you.
Thank you. I take that as a compliment.
It is a compliment.
Thank you.
well,
Thank you, man.
well. My birthday is 4 weeks from today. I will be 60.
Yeah,
Nice. You're
yeah.
definitely my
The
mom's
big
age.
60.
You were
Yes.
born in
So I plan.
1962.
Yes, during the Cuban Missile Crisis. So,
Oh
depending on
yeah.
what. So, I'm gonna. I plan to celebrate it with my union friends. I mean, we're gonna be going away for delegate training, upstate New York. So there's probably gonna be some party. I'm probably gonna have a couple of drinks and whatnot, and have a good time.
Hmm. All right. All right. Yeah, yeah. Celebrate it. Celebrate it. You
Yeah,
only turn 60 one time. So plan it, have it your way,
yeah,
celebrate it. Absolutely.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Maybe by then we'll get some nice chilly weather.
Don't start with the whole thing about the weather. Nah, nah. I mean, so you're gonna be having your shorty soon? Over?
Uh,
Your lady. I
you know
mean.
what? You know what? I have to discuss it with her because I know she put in the paperwork for her visiting for her visa. She's just waiting for
Right.
the attorney to give her a date. So hopefully it'll be soon. She might end up experiencing the slightly chilly winter of New York.
I feel for her. I feel for her because she's gonna be freezing. I mean, so it's up to you. It's
Yeah.
up to you to keep her warm.
Well, I
Yeah.
already told her that she'll need to let me know what is her coat size so I can get a couple of coats, and I'm probably going to get a heater, even though technically it's not going to be necessary.
Yeah. All right. You have to make sure of that. So you are bringing your Dominican shorty, right? You're gonna be bringing your Dominican lady. Yeah, I have my Dominican shorty with me right now. I mean, she's visiting. So yeah, that's why I haven't been on YouTube or anything. But right now, she's just watching something. She's watching something
Well,
on Netflix. So I came in the bedroom to talk to you guys.
well, she does follow my channel,
Hmm.
so I'm just waiting for the day that she'll actually pop up and make her presence felt, and
Yeah.
but all all in good time,
Ah,
all in good time.
all right. All right. No, no,
Yes.
but like Giorgio said, when it comes to these tensions, these racial tensions, they're mostly because of a misunderstanding. Maybe because of some instigating narrative that seems to be floating around. I mean, and if we can if we can sort it out, if we can make sense as to where this started, we might come across with the fact that it was over something stupid that nobody should be beefing about. I mean, it was.
Exactly. I
I mean,
mean,
yeah.
I mean, if you
Yeah,
actually
and
look at it, right?
politicians don't help either, though, because they feed off of it too.
I mean,
Yeah.
if you actually look at it, right? I'm talking about as far as the social construct and everything. If you
Hmm.
actually look at all the stuff between what this guy Tariq Nasheed and all these other guys, they have one thing in common. They're and this is my view. And certain African Americans may or may not see this, but my thing is a lot of people are getting built. Think about it. Brother Polite, right?
Hmm.
What a lot of people don't understand is that, he was how should I say? He's an abuser of the
Who are we
young.
talking about? Sorry, I had to step away for a bit.
All right. We're talking about Brother Polite, right? He was accused of being a abuser of the young. Since YouTube and their algorithms or whatever the case may be. So I'm not gonna really say what he is, but he's an abuser of the young. And there was a case that brought amount of controversy. Then you have Dr. Umar Johnson, which have that he has been accused of bilking a lot of his supporters. And now you have Tariq Nasheed. So my thing is that with all these supposed African American motive motivators, talkers, that they could talk a good game and everything like that, so they could make people riled up. And then when they get people riled up, they go against the beliefs that they're actually preaching about. So my thing
Hmm.
is that with Tariq Nasheed and the Dr. Umars and everything like that, I do not call them black leaders of anything because they
Hmm.
haven't done the groundwork, or they're or they haven't said anything that actually ills the current society. And
Hmm.
so I was with them, and me and my ex, we used to argue back and forth with this because I remember when BET actually was
Hmm.
talking about knowledge. Now is that BET is now is just how should I say, another branch of Viacom.
Yes.
This is what we watching. We watching Bad Boy, Baby Boy, watching all these ratchet COD shows, which has a whole bunch of people together, and then they're just fighting it out, cursing each other and everything.
I don't watch
And
TV.
I know I'm saying like
I don't even
I'm
have
just
a television. I don't even own one, but I
Yeah, yeah.
use
I mean
I
and I'm
usually
familiar
start.
with those.
Yeah, I have
I watch
Netflix, but
TV, but
that's
I
for
only watch
visitors.
Netflix on mine. It's like the news is like if I'm gonna watch the news, I just look at YouTube. But the thing
Right.
is though,
Same.
it's like if you actually look at it, right? I'm just saying from the angle, from the from the when it actually commenced to all the love and hip hops and everything, I
Hmm.
actually stopped like around 2010 watching any reality show because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, all these reality shows are actually tell is actually influencing the youth to say I could act ratchet or whatever, but yet you're not
Yeah.
giving the youth or any other people professional skills on how to talk to people in the world. So it's like
Nope.
if you're gonna go to a meeting and say, "Hey, how you doing, mother effer," and all this stuff, you think you're gonna
No.
get the job? You think you're gonna go and get the big checks? No.
Hell no. No,
Yeah.
today's television is not teaching anybody about people's skills. And I stopped. I really stopped watching network TV. I started kind of like weaning myself out of it back in the mid 2000s. I mean, by the time like 2008 came around, I already wasn't watching much TV anymore. And it's been like that ever since. I got Netflix, but that is if I for if I have any visitors, any company, and they want to watch something. That's what I have Netflix for. But soon enough, I might just cancel my Netflix subscription because I really don't watch TV like that. I watch YouTube. I mean, don't take my internet connection away because that will hurt. Because I need my YouTube fixed because the difference is that at least on a platform like YouTube, you watch programming, but sometimes you can interact with the content creators that, like right now. I can watch your video, Armando, but here I am talking with you also. I like that. So that's what is
Exactly.
better about. But that's better than with television. You just watch celebrities, and there is a whole world apart. There is a whole world of a difference between who you are watching and yourself. At least here, I'm more likely to talk to people that are more like me, like you guys. So, and I like that. I like that. I'm connected via a platform, but I'm connected with people that I can relate to. So that I prefer that. I mean that all of those shows, that's cool and all movies, that's cool, but that's entertaining. That's only entertaining, escapism. But at least here we're talking about things that affects us, that we're seeing, that are part of of reality, of real life, and that's important. That's important to me. Uh, but like yeah, a lot of this beefing that's going on, a lot of these tensions, it's over something stupid. It's over some stupid ish. So I just hope that cooler heads can prevail so that things can get sorted out and we can realize that it was all over something stupid. And people are just being
Yeah.
overly emotional over something that didn't need to be emotional about. But
I
I know that
mean,
I'm being kind
I
of
don't know.
passionate when it comes to this whole thing about what we're accused us as Hispanics and Latinos what we were being accused of. And yeah, I'm being passionate and maybe there is a little bit of emotion involved on it. I won't deny it, but it's just that I don't like lies. I don't like lies. I don't like somebody um, just blatantly lying about my peoples in the states. That's what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. I mean, if we actually look at it, right? There's a in the United States, you have certain people who are propaganda artists. That's what I call them because
Hmm.
they want to spread a propagandist ideology. Because maybe in their heart they feel that certain people are taking away what they want or whatever. So
Yeah.
therefore, they create a lie to try to separate people. So while we're fighting and everything like that, they're trying to take the opportunity from both of us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to beef with anybody or fight with anybody because one has to look as to who's starting the shit and who's profiting from it. You were mentioning Tariq Nasheed. I'll admit, I have known who Tariq Nasheed is for a long time. For a long time. I'm talking years. I didn't just learn about him 2, 3 years ago when he started with the whole FBA thing. Before that, he was doing the work that he was doing was about dating and relationships, and I read about that back in the 2000s actually. I mean, I remember listening to his podcast back then in the like 2006, 2007. Yeah, he's been around for a long time, and but it was only in the last few years when he he used to be part of the whole ADOS thing, and then he broke off from it and started the whole FBA thing, and those are the ones that we are having to deal with. I mean, because they're trying to get in our faces, talking about that we need to bow to them, and that we're culture vultures, we're stealing something from them. We don't need to steal anything. We don't need to steal anything. We have a culture of our own. We have our own cultures. When it comes to the hip hop thing, there was already a presence of Latinos in it. We didn't steal anything. Why is that so hard to understand? If we wanted to do that, it would have happened a long time ago. We have been pushed out of hip hop since the 1980s. But the thing is that the truth cannot be buried. That's what I don't know if I was breaking up, so I'm repeating that because I don't know if I was breaking up earlier. I mean, we didn't steal it. We didn't steal it. We didn't, and you can't expect us to give back to you what we didn't take. We don't have it. We didn't steal it.
Ramon, this week on my platform, I had a couple of topics that were geared for us men. On Tuesday, I spoke about the society place unrealistic expectations regarding men. And then yesterday, I did a stream. How do you describe a productive male?
I have to go
And
back
the
to the
reason
Don Jose. Yeah.
And the reason why I chose those topics because unfortunately, in many circles, you don't find too many positive things to say about us men. I mean,
Oh no, no,
well,
we're getting trashed. We're getting trashed in the media. We have been getting trashed for a long time. Men in general being portrayed as dumb, us being goofballs. We don't know what we're doing. We need women to rescue us and do things for us because supposedly they're the ones that can do any thinking, and we don't think, and we're meatheads, and it's been happening for years. There's nothing new to it. It's just that it's because it's gonna come to a head, and hopefully the pendulum starts to swing, understanding that there is a need for each other, for men and women. We need each other. That's the way it's been forever. That's the way it's been since the beginning of humanity. We have needed
yeah,
each other. I mean, notice that we're not. I'm not saying anything about how we men don't need women. Oh, we need women. We need women. There's women that are saying that they don't need men. That's until they need somebody to lift something for them, or they need somebody to fix, which is usually a man. I mean, they have this belief. At least the radical feminists. I'm not saying all women, but the radical feminists are very quick to say that they think that the world would be better off if us men are killed off. Hashtag kill all men. That's an actual hashtag. You can look it up on Twitter. Because there is that belief, that we are to a degree. I know that we are somewhat expendable when it comes to society because if a war breaks out, we are the ones that have to make the ultimate sacrifice. I understand that. I get it. But that is in a very real war defense situation. We're the ones that are going to have to take the risk. I get it. I'm not arguing against that. But if women are going to be so strong and independent, they're the same as men, then they're going to have to stand with us and take the risks too. If there is a war, if it comes to a point where we're going to be getting drafted, they're going to have to take the risk too. They're going to have to be drafted too. They're going to have to be in the front lines fighting too. Oh yeah. I mean, you can't be wanting equality without all that comes with it. I mean,
mhm,
well, at least for example, I mean, during the Second World War, the Soviets, they will have women in uniform fighting a war, but they usually were doing that as snipers. Snipers are the soldiers that will shoot with a long range rifle, with a long range weapon, and they will be in a hidden position, and they will shoot people. I mean, women were doing that, but at least they had more of a chance to be protected because they will be hiding from a distant location, and they were not easily seen, but they were fighting. Now that's more of an equality thing. I mean, other women are gonna have to be willing to do somewhat of the same. I, but as a man, I'm never gonna say I don't need a woman. I definitely like to be in the company of a good woman, but she has to be cooperative. I mean,
Yeah,
if
I
it's
mean,
gonna be difficult and combative, I don't
I
want
mean,
her.
I mean, specifically.
Hmm.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, you know what's it's amazing. You have some of these modern women. They're shaming men because they decided to go outside the U.S. to try to find companionship.
Well, I mean,
And that.
well, I mean, hell, there are two parts to it. When it comes to the women complaining about guys getting their passports, uh, hey, well, they shouldn't be complaining. They can get their passports too and do traveling too and do whatever they want to do because nobody's restraining them. I mean, I don't know what are they complaining about. I mean, if they're already independent, they can get their own passports and do their own traveling and do whatever it is that they want. I mean, they don't have any restrictions. Nobody can stop them from doing it. That's
But they
one
want the
thing.
men to accept them on.
What was that? I didn't hear.
I said they don't want to be independent. They want a man, but they want a man to accept them on their terms. Maybe I should do a stream regarding that topic.
Uh, it's gonna be a little controversial, but yeah, maybe that should be a topic. That should be a topic of discussion. And that maybe they do
Yeah.
want a man, but they want it on their terms. On their terms, meaning that the man has to submit to them. And that's a non-starter because what woman really wants a man to submit to a woman? I mean, he's never gonna have any respect. He's gonna be a cock, a cuckold. I mean, he's just not gonna get any respect. He's gonna be cheated on, and no, that's just not gonna work. That's not gonna do it. That's just not gonna do it. But yeah, it can be a topic for discussion. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. I think sometime this month I'll have it. Um,
Hmm.
and of course, I'll invite the ladies to come in for their rebuttal. Whether they show up, it's another thing altogether.
Hmm. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
oh, well, the good news is okay. Well, I guess we just lost Ramon.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'm like,
but you know what? History will tell us what type of person King Charles will be as a monarch. I mean, but then again, he's not going to rule no for 70 years. I mean, he might rule for maybe 10, 15 years, maybe.
I mean, yeah, but then again, it's like, it was like, I don't know. I could say that a lot of that family is a lot of long livers, right? Because the Queen Mother lived to be like 100 something, right? Queen
Mhm.
Elizabeth lived to be 97. With Charles, I don't know because I haven't heard any, of his health or whatever the case may be, but he comes from a line of long livers. So let's see what's is in store on how much of his reign is going to be, or if he's of ill health, if he's going to abdicate the throne, or whatever the case may be, because that's what it is often.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well.
Are you talking about the Royals?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, like we were saying before. I mean, the the Queen passed. She was 96 years old, I understand. And not
Yes.
long ago, yeah, not long ago, her husband passed away, but he was like 99 already. So yeah, they live long lives because they are well taken care of at the taxpayers' expense. That's basically what it is. And but I don't know what's gonna happen when it comes to the now king. It's only now that he's in his 60s, becoming the king, and we'll see what happens with that. He's had his share of certain controversies and like a couple of scandals and all, but I don't know. I remember reading something about people wanting the crown to be passed down to William, which will
I
be one of
mean,
his sons. Yeah.
if you actually look at it, right, when you talk about scandals or whatever, that's nothing new because when you actually look at the history of the British Crown, it's nothing but
Hmm.
rotten. I'm
Yeah.
not saying rotten, but I'm saying as far as scandals, whatever, because it goes back from the 15th century. Even King Henry VIII was scandalous. So when you actually look at it, and everything like that, it just it just it, it's just with a bunch of scandals. It just worded differently.
Hmm. Hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um. Well, actually, believe it or not, on Labor Day, would you believe I actually did overtime?
You were working on Labor Day, really?
Yes.
Uh, yeah. Come on, that's an actual holiday, an actually federally recognized holiday that you were working. Really?
Yeah, but it was overtime.
No, I get it. I get it. I mean, get that overtime. That always come in handy. But it's just that it's funny. It's funny because it being on Labor Day.
Well, actually, I did it working in one of the homeless shelters. So what I did was I was doing intake and then feeding the residents.
Okay. Oh, that's nice.
Would you
That's all
believe I
right.
was the only staff? Would you believe, Andy, I was the only staff person that spoke Spanish?
Huh. Well, it's kind of it's really something that you say that, considering that it's New York. So many people that speak different languages.
Well, okay. It's funny because people volunteer, and basically what happened was I was the only one that spoke Spanish, and then 75% of the residents were Spanish speaking.
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
So In fact, I'm gonna be doing. In fact, I'm gonna be working doing overtime early Sunday morning.
Really? You're gonna be working on
Yes,
Sunday morning?
from midnight to eight
Wow.
a.m.
All right.
And you gotta make that overtime, and with Christmas is coming, and I'm looking forward to well, what I'm looking for. I'm not gonna mention it because you get a little sensitive when I talk about it.
Yeah, yeah. It's just that I don't like it. I don't like it how Christmas is done here in the States because somebody can get depressed about it. Uh, it can be depressing. It's not like outside in other places where the holidays are a time for celebration, basically. Self celebration and having a good time, partying and all of that. At least where I'm from, that's how it is. I mean, in Puerto Rico, when let's say uh, Black Friday and Thanksgiving, even though that has nothing to do with us, when that comes around, we start partying, holiday partying. That's what we do.
Yes. Well, of course, I'm looking forward to the first day of winter. So when it gets nice and cozy, it actually puts a little pep in my step again, and it puts a little
Yeah, I'm
ooh.
gonna make sure not to go to New York. I'm not trying to do all of that. Yeah,
I mean, think of all the
yes.
fun that you're missing. I mean,
No, I'm not missing.
you can go
I'm not missing nothing.
I mean, you
So
can
I'm
go
not trying to
ice
do that.
skating. You can go ice skating in Rockefeller Center. You can go watch the ball drop on New Year's Eve. I mean, you can join the Polar Bear Club and go into the water on New Year's Day.
You do that. You do that. I'll leave that up to you. You do that. Hmm. I'm not trying to do that. No. Oh man, man, man,
Well,
man.
I still sleep with the AC on.
Nah. Well, I put it on in intervals. I mean, I don't have it on all the time. I just use it in intervals. Yeah, if necessary. Only if necessary. But aside from that, nah.
Well, if
Yeah.
I ever become president, my campaign would be "Make America Cold Again."
Well, I mean, anybody
Uh,
with sense is gonna avoid that. Nobody wants that. Cold. Stop it. I mean, over here, still temperatures go all the way up to 100. It's still gonna be like that for a while, uh, until like the end of the month, it seems. And that's when it's gonna start to cool down, but just a little bit, just a little.
Okay.
right.
Okay. Well, right now it's 69 degrees, so it's
Hmm.
summer like.
Yeah, 69. I'm already wearing a jacket. I'm already wearing a jacket at 69 degrees and lower than that. I already need a jacket. That's already
Why?
that's already starting to get chilly. Yeah.
Well, you
Well, I
well
mean,
you
you
have
can
to
go out.
well, you have to admit because most people who are from the tropics, 69 is cold. I remember when it was
Yes.
65 in the Dominican Republic, and I guess it was like it was raining or whatever the case may be. So my stepsister, well, it's a long story. My stepsister was asking my dad, was asking me and my dad, y'all not cold? I told them. I told her, when you live in New York City that long, this is not cold. And it was like around
Yeah.
December or so.
Yeah. 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 There are people that are bought into it, and how could they ever be? So, nah, not for me. Not for
I
me.
mean,
I
think about
mean, I'm from the Caribbean, so
I mean, think of it, Ramon. You can lie down on the floor and make snow angels.
That dirty on that dirty snow, nah, it's gonna be all dirty. Yeah, there might be frozen poop in that in all that snow. There's gonna be frozen poop. Yeah.
Oh, oh, when the snow comes down, you can let a snowflake touch your tongue.
No, nah, nah. It's gonna be dirty.
All right.
Yeah.
Quick question. To both of you gentlemen. Y'all been
Yes.
on a cruise, right?
Yes.
On a cruise? Not
All
on a cruise. I haven't done a cruise yet, but I have been on a
Uh,
plane a few times. Hmm.
all right, yeah, because this is my first
I've
time
been
on
on
a
like a
cruise.
cruise.
So, I'm actually excited for it. I just never been in one. So,
You're gonna be with the lady. You're gonna be on a cruise then.
yes.
It's gonna be throughout the Caribbean and all.
I mean, it's going to be to the Bahamas.
Nice, nice. I'm sure it's gonna be real nice, real pretty out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. But I haven't done that. I haven't done a cruise. Eventually, in the not so distant future, I should be able to. I should plan something about that. But nah, I haven't done it.
Yeah. Like goals is one of my goals of of my channel is to actually put out my music and to actually travel the globe because I've been watching a lot of these travel bloggers like J Rod
Hmm.
and other people that have done travel vlogs like on the daily. Okay, there's a guy that I guess he just stopped his channel, and his name is on Bald and Bankrupt. He actually was doing tours to the deepest part of Russia that they don't actually show you in the news if they
Hmm.
have any news about Russia. So he was actually like watching his videos was actually like an education on all the different Russian regions that they don't really get to talk about on American media. So
Okay.
I would like to actually maybe in the future if I get the best equipment or whatever the case may be, make a little travel vlog too. So therefore my channel could actually have like a little of everything.
Okay.
Okay. Giving it variety. That's good. That's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
you should try that. Definitely. Man. All right, guys. Armando, I appreciate letting me on your panel, but I'm gonna be stepping out. I have to tend to my
It,
visiting
it was it
friend.
was it was great having you, sir.
Hey, Armando, once again, I appreciate letting me on your panel. Thank you. I thank you. And shout out to Don Jose, who's always been gracious to me when I show up to his panels. It's just that in the last few days, I haven't been able to get online like that. But I'm gonna be checking out. I'm gonna do the playback on your stuff that you were mentioning earlier. So shout out to both of you guys, and have a good night. Have a good one. I'm gonna be stepping out
Thank you.
now.
Be
Yes,
safe
we'll
out
talk
there.
again later on. You too,
Definitely.
guys. Appreciate it. Bye.
And take care. Okay. Well, anything else that's on your mind?
Okay. Well, let's see what else. Hmm. All right. So in your international travels, when did you start to travel internationally? Don Jose?
That's a good question. I would think more like say the early 80s. I briefly visited Canada. I went to Niagara Falls. And then I've been to Puerto Rico 3 times. I've been to the Dominican Republic twice. I've been to Panama once, Colombia once, and Mexico once. In fact, Mexico was the last country that I visited um, back in 2019 before this COVID 19 stuff started. And with the exception of the DR, every 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 time I travel, it's been with a group. Colombia is a beautiful country. I mean, I was in Medellin, and it's a beautiful country, and the climate is the climate is beautiful. It's eternal spring over there. Um, Panama was beautiful. It's incredibly hot. The DR was beautiful. In fact, I plan to go back sometime next year. Um,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I find it interesting when you have certain people talking about countries in Latin America, but yet they never visited the countries.
to me, it's this. I have a saying. I have a saying, and I try to tell people this. If somebody's gonna talk about Latin America or any country being, the cultural norms of that country, but yet you
Mhm.
just see the people, but you haven't really went to that country to experience the culture or whatever the case may be, you should not have a right to talk about it. Like, for example, let's just say that if somebody was to talk about China, right?
Mhm.
And you're just talking about what you see on media or what another person said, but
Yeah.
you didn't go there to experience it yourself. So, for me to go and talk about China or anything like that of that nature, I'm gonna say of the stuff that I've heard or the people that I talk to online. But if I didn't go to any region of Asia or anything like that, I might experience some of the cultural norms here in the United States. But if I didn't go over to the mainland where these cultures originated or what the cultural norms of the people are, I can't speak on it.
Hmm.
And just like certain Africans, all the Africans that I've talked to, they say I cannot speak about the other country because it is not my culture. They're not of my ethnic group or something of that matter. I could tell you about what they do, but I can't speak on it because I haven't been there.
Hmm. True. Very true. And what gets me is that you have certain individuals, they will they will travel abroad, and they expect conditions over there will be similar to conditions in the United States. And many times that's not the case. Okay.
No.
One thing I do is weeks before I go to a country, I'll try to learn as much as I can regarding the customs. So at least that way, when I go visit the country out, I know more or less how to act.
Yep. Keep talking.
Yeah. Like okay, like for example, when I went to before I went to Colombia, which was 5 years ago, I actually people I actually spoke with people who came from Colombia to give me some ideas. Then I also look at different videos on YouTube. So at least when I went to Colombia, I had somewhat of an understanding about the culture and how they do things. I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember which country I went to visit it, which was, you know how here in the US, when we go to the bathroom and then what we do after we wipe our butts, we put the toilet paper in the toilet. Okay.
right.
I don't remember which country it was. I think it was either Colombia or Panama or what have you. Over there, you put your tissue paper in the basket. You don't flush it down. I think it has to do with the fact that the plumbing is not as uh, strong and they cannot deal
Yeah,
with tissue paper.
yeah,
Now, for some Americans, that would be considered disgusting, but over there, that's considered normal.
yeah. Because that's the cultural
So
norm
that's an
in certain South American countries. I know that for a fact.
Mhm. Exactly. But unfortunately, you have people who automatically assume that they're treated the same way as they're treated in the US, and that's not the case.
I have a name
It,
for that. It's called American arrogance. When you go to a
mhm.
country and you have you have like the ignorance of another country, but yet you expect that everything's going to be catered to you just because you're this big grand American. When the fact is, you didn't do your studies or talk to somebody about the cultural norm. And usually, what happens to Americans and other foreigners that actually think like that when they go to another country, they do not know the etiquette nor how to respect the people of the country that they're going to. And 9 times out of 10, when they come up with this arrogant mindset to the country, 9 times out of 10 they either be victims of robbery, or if they don't know their surroundings or whatever, they might be framed for something that they never did, or go to prison for something that they had no knowledge of doing. When the fact is, a person just put something into their bags, and the next thing you know, they're sentenced to 20 years in prison just because of something that they was not really aware of, or they was not aware of the people that they were hanging with. That is the dangers of American arrogance in a foreign country.
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
anyway, so when are you planning to take this cruise?
Well, it'll be the 23rd or the 24th. So, and then I'm coming back like around October 1st or 2nd. Yeah, it's one of those dates that I'll be coming back.
Okay. Well, I'm sure you and your better half will enjoy yourselves. There are many activities that you can do on a cruise. There's the pool. There's the night scene. Um, I mean, there are many activities that you can participate in. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop off. I'm gonna get ready to go to bed. But as always, Don Armando, it's a pleasure to be here to choose the fact with you, and I really do appreciate all the people who appeared on the chat. I wonder why Zacharias came and left. Did he left on his own, or he was
I,
removed?
I think it's how should I say, it's maybe because he had technical difficulties, because I'm trying to talk to him, and I actually invited him tonight because aside from that, I guess whatever problems other panelists have, me and him, we actually have constant talk and whatever the case may be. So it's like he said like he will come, but then I guess he has technical difficulties or something like that. So I'm trying to see. But on a personal note, one of my friends brother uh in Florida, Hernando County, he's actually in the hospital right now because he was a victim of an assault. I'm not really gonna go and try to get into it, but it's like he's in the hospital right now. So you know, I'm just saying like whoever's watching this program or whatever, send your prayers to that individual.
Yeah, definitely, because and one thing we have to be mindful of, you know, we need to be ever alert and vigilant because we're living in a very crazy world. But definitely, let's keep it in prayer. As always, thank you very much for allowing me on your platform, and I just want to wish everyone a good night and be safe.
It was nice talking to you, Don Jose.
All
And
right,
you're welcome
take care.
anytime into my platform. You too.
Okay, thank you. Good night.
Good night. Well, that wraps it up for open discussion with Don Armando. I would like to thank all the guests that actually showed. And I'll let you know, the subscribers, on when we're going to have a next open discussion. Tune into one of my other shows, which is called Urbanas con Don Armando, where I actually talk about the origins of Dominican hip hop in New York City and in the Dominican Republic. So I'm trying to actually get the whole stories and the backstories from artists that actually had problems, or on how their movement or movements actually started. So for my Spanish and English listeners, if you want to actually see that segment of my show, you're welcome to. So, with all that said, have a good night and stay blessed.